It's been a rough week, let's say, defensively for this team, and I think it's really been exposed. Like, well, first off, just the talent of the lineup we talked about, like the depth isn't there, right? A few guys get injured, and like this lineup is looking pretty weak. But also in the same sense, that kind of goes along with like the middle infield. I think we're finally O'Neal Cruz is out, obviously, right? It was forcing Castro to play second. I'm sorry, short. Then there's Bay, there's Marcano, there's Mark Mathias, if you want to technically label him a middle infielder by his play. And it's been awful defensively, right? So yesterday, Mathias gets sent back down. Chris Owings comes up, a much better infielder, although not a great infielder. So like solidifies it defensively, but got us kind of talking. This infield depth is it's pretty weak. Put it that way. It's pretty weak, and you say that in the sense of Ben Cherington's been targeting a lot of middle infielders in his tenure here. You would hope it wouldn't be a Chris Owings making that call out of need. It would be more like hey, maybe Nick Gonzalez being here, or Marcano is certainly that guy, or such. So,
yeah.
What do you want to get into with the middle infield right now?
I think we can kind of go a few different ways with this. One, Rodolfo Castro kind of was the guy there for quite a bit of time. Like when Cruz went down, they were like, okay, we're going to have to lean on Castro to play shortstop. Castro now has played shortstop just twice in the last 6 games. He seems to be
good,
kind of moving more towards, back to second base. And it was just like Castro's got the athleticism. He's capable of playing the position, but honestly, he misses too many of the routine plays. Like it was just too many routine plays that he wasn't making, that you quite frankly just have to have those plays be made by your shortstop. Right. We saw them cost them, dearly in the Tampa Bay series, just multiple errors all over the field. And Castro was a part of that. So, you're moving Castro back to second base. It seems like that's going to be the plan. Chris Owings, you mentioned, gets a call up. Yeah, it's a little disheartening that like you've got to go to Chris Owings. You've got to go to a 31-year-old journeyman who can't hit like a lick. He is capable of playing the shortstop position. Like he's a shortstop. He can move around and do other things as well. But he plays shortstop. He's a better shortstop than anybody else on the roster. He just can't hit. And he's not great defensively, but like he's capable of playing the position. But yeah, Marcano, he got 3 straight starts at shortstop this past week. He didn't look great. Ji-Hwan Bae hasn't played since Friday, so he hasn't played the last 3 days. So he's perhaps fallen out of favor as well, because he also has looked quite bad defensively, especially in the infield. He's looking better in the outfield than in the infield. So, yeah, you mentioned you wish it could be another guy. Yeah, you wish that like Nick Gonzalez was the guy that you called upon right here, or Liover Peguero is the guy that you call upon right here. But here we are, 2023, 3 years after acquiring both of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And here's Chris Owings, 31-year-old Chris Owings being called up. And I think Owings will be capable. Like I said, he's going to be capable of doing the small things at shortstop that you need him to do. But yeah, it's a little disheartening. I mean, you don't want to see Chris Owings. He's just kind of there, but he should hopefully provide at least a little stability defensively. I'm curious to see how much they go to him. Like, is he going to be the everyday shortstop going forward just to make sure like, hey, we have a shortstop, or are they still going to kind of mix and match Owings, Marcano, Castro, Bay? Are they gonna do this thing? I am kind of interested to see how they move forward with that.
You make a good point there, like how they're going to utilize him. I think what you're saying is absolutely correct, right? Like he can play it. That's a plus right now because no one can. And like this kind of goes back to like the whole Kevin Newman talk. I was perfectly comfortable with them moving on from Kevin Newman because he's not a good player. Let's not take away at bats from Castro and Bay and Marcano. Like let's see these guys develop, right? Let's get them in the lineup. So this is kind of a scenario. Like this is almost like if they had Kevin Newman on the team, how would they utilize him? So I hope not often, but like it is nice to have someone capable of playing shortstop. So maybe like in a later innings, he's there to replace somebody, and maybe give someone a day off or such. He comes in last night, right away starts, and then ironically, like you're saying, he's not a good hitter, and boom, there's a hit right off the bat. But hey, Austin Hedges got a double, so anything could happen last night.
Yeah, it was a weird night.
The Rockies. It was actually kind of funny. Talking of memes and such, I had one ready to go about Austin Hedges and Chris Owings being the same player. And then he got a hit, and I was like, well, can't use that. And then Hedges got a hit. I was like, well, I guess I can.
Hedges got 2 hits, didn't he?
He got one.
He got one. Okay.
He had the
that's right.
He had second one.
Well, he had the double, and then he should have had another double.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyways, Chris Owings is also not going to lengthen this lineup. That's like the one thing outside of Bay and Marcano who aren't hitting. Castro's defense is it's a challenge, but the dude's still hitting, and he showed last night. He made it 2-0. You look at him on the year. He's batting 263, 366, slugging 442, good enough for a 124 weighted runs created plus. Castro has certainly improved on many fronts offensively. Defensively, I could say like no. But that's like, okay, maybe we're finding that's what he is. And like as a second baseman, you're kind of okay with that, especially if that production is going to be there offensively. But certainly, like you said, like he's not a shortstop. He's playing out of position. It's harsh, but like you can't totally blame him for playing a position that he shouldn't be playing. Right? It's like back to the Josh Van Meter stuff. Like he's not a first baseman. It's not Cherington's. It's not his fault that Cherington didn't employ one. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's not totally his fault that Cruz went down. There's no other shortstop on the team right now. But I think we're finding out certainly like he's also not a backup.
Yeah, I think at this point you've got to play Castro every day, whether that be at second, short, or spelling Hayes every other week or so at third. Right. So yeah, he's got to be in the lineup. The bat is just it's too impactful to not have in there. If you're going to give him an off day, have it be against a righty. But yeah, I mean the 124 weighted runs created plus that Castro has, you've got to be happy with that. He's sitting right between Ozzy Albies and Gleyber Torres in that category when it comes to second baseman. So yeah, like he is a plus hitting second baseman in the major leagues right now. So yeah, you're going to take that from Castro. Absolutely. So he's got to be in there. And then, yeah, like I'm just curious to see what they do here. I think if it were me, like I'm to the point now where like I need a shortstop who can make plays. Like I'd probably, I hate to be saying this, but like I'd probably be playing Owings the majority of the time at shortstop. Like I would, if you're giving me the option, who would you rather see in the lineup? Owings at shortstop or Marcano and Bay at second or Marcano at short? Like I'm probably going Owings just from like the stability they can give you defensively, because that's a position where you need to be able to count on your shortstop. If a ball is hit towards him, he needs to make the out, and they haven't had that really all year.
Yeah, I can't fault you. Like this isn't. I can't put up that much of an argument, and I think it was back with the Newman situation. Like I can't give you that much of an argument. This is my preference. But your point is just as valid, I feel like, as the one I was making. Also, with that being said, it's not as if Bay's pushing anyone. Like it's not where like Castro's offense is saying, I still deserve to be here. Bay can't play defense, can't play offense right now. Marcano, to not as bad of a degree as him, but the same thing. So it's not as if like they're challenging for playing time as well and saying like, I deserve to be in the lineup. So you're like your points being validated there in that sense also. And I think that's why too, like him being there last night, like, hey, we need to get a win. Mitch Keller's on the mound. Like, let's not blow this by having like 3 errors behind Mitch Keller and pissing him off. Not that he would, but you know what I mean? Like Keller's on the mound. Let's have a sound game. It's not going to be great offensively, but that kind of bodes well for Keller. Like there's confidence in him. You're going to piss at Jim. We don't need to have 7, 8, 9 be amazing, right? Let's have some confident hitters at the front, and he pitched the gem. He did just that. Owings help stop because yes, he made some plays, nothing like outstanding last night, but he made the plays that was needed. There was no overthrown ball for, missing out on the double play or whatnot. So yeah.
I'll add this a good comment here in the chat, but Triolo has been hurt all season with a wrist injury, right? He started his rehab assignment in Bradenton last week. He mentions they were supposed to be the shortstop depth, so Triolo, keep an eye on him, guys, because like when Triolo is back healthy and maybe get him, like I said, I hopefully they move him from Bradenton to Indy here shortly. But once Triolo has some games under his belt and you feel comfortable with him, I think you got to immediately turn to Triolo at short. I think that's if he can hit at AAA, even just a decent amount, I think you got to make the switch. Triolo's your shortstop.
I'm with that. I would just rather have him here than Owings. But I would also just say don't expect much. Defensively, yes. It's Brian Hayes light, and that's not in a sexy way.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been able to hit at every level. He makes contact, the solid strikeout rates. He gets on base. He's got a tiny bit of pop. I think Triolo, if he can play the position well, which, by all accounts he can because he is elite defensively at third base.
Right.
He does play shortstop, every now and then. So I think, look for Triolo to get some shortstop playing time when he moves to Indianapolis. And as long as he looks good, I think you got to turn to him just because he can probably provide a little bit more for you offensively than Owings
probably
and
defensively too.
Marcano. Maybe not Bay, but Bay we've seen can't play infield.
Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of proven that a couple times.
Yeah, like at his natural second base position. This isn't where he's off position. He's at second base, and you're shaking your head. Yeah. Right. So there's that, and that probably would happen soon enough, I would imagine too.
Yeah. So keep an eye on Jared Triolo. He may be the next guy.
There you go.
You all, thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.